Every component of Nigeria will feel important.
We recommended that the next president should come from the south.
I have not anointed anyone. President Buhari clears the air as APC members count hours to the decision moment.
We are going to use this particular election to test some of our technological innovation to make sure that we get everything right.
INEC parleys media executives ahead of Ekiti governorship election.
And we must find the perpetrators and they must be punished.
Our tragic killings. Vice President Oshibago visits town in morning. Hello and a warm welcome to NTA Network News. We are live in Abuja. I am Kene Ima Abunike. Hengano John Adams joins us from Lagos and Felicia Dalia Samaila from our Jos studio. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and all our social media platforms displayed on the screen for updates. Let's start with politics, as President Muhammadu Buhari has formally cleared all doubts regarding his stand on the choice of APC presidential candidate for the 2023 elections, stating emphatically that no one has been anointed. Granting audience to the Northern APC governors, the president maintains that he has no preferred candidate and is determined to ensure that there shall be no imposition in any party. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the report.
13 out of the 14 northern APC governors attended the crucial meeting with the president as the special national convention of the party kicks off to elect its standard bearer for the 2023 presidential election. It was therefore an opportunity for the Nigerian leader to put the record straight. Nobody will appoint anybody. The APC delegates must be allowed to participate freely and decide, he told his guest. President Buhari said he has a clear mind about what he is doing and asked the northern APC governors present to feel the same way. He reminded them that they were elected as he was by the grace of God and therefore have no reason whatsoever to complain, rather be ready to take the pain and indeed the joy. The northern APC governors were in the State House to reaffirm their position on the party's presidential candidate.
We reviewed a lot of things in this country and we discussed at length about the unity of this country, about the need for progress and the need for inclusiveness and also justice. We recommended that the next president should come from the south.
The governor of Kogi State chose to excuse himself from meeting with Mr. President because he believes that he does not agree with our position. There are 14 APC governors out of the 19 northern states. 13 of us are on one page on this subject and we all came to see the president, but the governor of Kogi State excused himself. And it is within his democratic rights to excuse himself.
But what gives the northern APC governors the confidence that the position taken is the best way forward towards achieving the desired victory as Nigerians return to the polls next year? Governor Atiku Bagudu of Kebbi State is the chairman of the APC Governors Forum.
We look at the totality of the issues in our country. We believe APC with 22 governors, APC with a president that has delivered on democratic dividend across the breadth of this country, has everything going for it. What is the political brinksmanship that we need to bring so that every component of Nigeria will feel important? Like I said, there are northern candidates of northern extraction and we are not ignoring their capacity or their interest, but we felt that if political expediency can encourage a step that will bring more peace and resonate with everyone across Nigeria, we are bold enough to say it.
During the meeting, the governors formally apologized to the president for the leakage of their signed memorandum, which was not in support of any particular candidate, and assured him of their readiness to accept his leadership on the matter. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Earlier, President Muhammad Buhari had promised to provide the desired leadership in the ongoing consultations and consensus building towards ensuring that the governing APC retains power in 2023 by recording its third consecutive victory at the polls in best interests of the nation. This was while addressing the National Advisory Council of the party, whom he tasked to bring their spheres of influence to bear in the process of ensuring that a formidable candidate of the party emerges for the presidential election. Again, State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
This meeting with the APC National Advisory Council is coming barely 24 hours after President Buhari engaged all the presidential aspirants of the party and urged them to consult, build consensus and come up with a formidable candidate that will lead the party to victory at the polls. It was, amongst others, aimed at sharpening the focus of the APC family members as well as fortifying the positive democratic principles, practices and culture of the party towards enhancing its electoral fortunes.
I recognize the fact that you all have diverse interests, spheres of influence and expectations. You similarly possess the collective ability to ensure our victory at the 2023 polls by strengthening the stability and unity of the party. My charge and appeal to you all, therefore, is to reach out to your various spheres of influence to actively promote the spirit of consultation and consensus building so that a formidable candidate for the 2023 presidential elections will emerge from the convention. Our citizens do not expect less from us.
The standard bearer of the governing party, the president insists, must have the ability to build a unified nation and the capacity to deal appropriately with the nation's fundamental challenges. He said the meetings held so far have not only been fruitful but indicative of a party that is prepared and marching towards a resounding victory at the presidential election.
I wish to assure you that in the interest of the nation and the party, I shall lead the transition process and ongoing consultation till we successfully choose our candidate for the 2023 presidential election and record our third straight victory thereafter, by God's grace.
President Buhari described as pleasing that the APC presidential aspirants consist of eminent personalities rich in experience, pedigree of accomplishments in life, capacity and commitment to service. Speakers at the meeting, including General Muhammad Magoro, Chief BC Akonde and former Senate President Ken Namani, were unanimous that with hard work and a unified front, APC would win the 2023 elections, and expressed appreciation to President Buhari for the great service being rendered to Nigeria. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Now, a statement from the State House has noted that it is perhaps not surprising that on the eve of the All Progressives Congress APC flag bearer primary, there are those running as candidates who wish to associate themselves with the president's rise to elected office 7 years ago. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, in a statement says there are many people who played parts, large and small, in his historic election in 2015, making history as the first opposition candidate to defeat a sitting president with power changing hands peacefully at the poll ballot box. There are those who advised the president to run again, those who decided to build a political party, the APC, that could finally be the political vehicle capable of delivering victory where all other opposition parties and alliances before it had failed. Those decisions may have been agreed upon by a few, but they were delivered by thousands and voted for by tens of millions. No one can or should claim to have made this possible. Yet as important as that moment was, it is not what should decide the next general election. What matters is the future, the policy platforms, the ideas, the drive, and the determination to take over the president's stewardship of our country and build upon his legacy to make our country better than it has ever been. The person most demonstrable in those qualities is the one to lead our party and our country forward. Meanwhile, barely 3 days to the deadline by the Independent National Electoral Commission to political parties to submit names of their standard bearers, the stage is set for the APC to elect its presidential candidate. Political correspondent Saliu Gwanara chronicles APC's journey to its third special convention and presidential primary.
Yes, APC was the year and 4 months, September 2014, when it held its first presidential primary election at the Teslim Balogun Stadium in Lagos, keenly contested among 5 aspirants: President Muhammadu Buhari, former Vice President and now the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. 12 years down the line, the APC's political culture and dynamics have tilted towards the practice of consensus as a mode of selecting leaders. It is about that time of the year, the most anticipated presidential primary of the All Progressives Congress, scheduled to hold between Monday 6 June and Wednesday 8 June 2022 at the Eagle Square in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Nigerians are expected to witness another historical poll that will determine the standard bearer of the party and perhaps who may eventually be the next president using the APC platform. 23 aspirants have already been screened and found worthy for the contest by the John Odige Oyegun-led Presidential Screening Committee are ready to go for the party's #1 ticket. Already, all eyes are on the APC as majority parties, including the major opposition People's Democratic Party, have concluded the critical pre-election processes, having elected their standard bearer, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Internal party contestations within the APC prompted the March 26th National Convention that produced its current leaders, who are barely 3 months in office. With the conduct of governorship and state houses of assembly, House of Representatives and Senate primary elections, and the additional time political parties have secured from the Independent National Electoral Commission, the political atmosphere is set towards producing the APC's presidential candidate. However, in compliance with the new Electoral Act, 2,340 delegates are expected to either elect through indirect primary or affirm the would-be consensus candidates. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) says it has injected a number of technological innovations into the conduct of subsequent elections in Nigeria to check identified lapses in previous elections. The Commission, however, appealed to Nigerians, especially stakeholders in election process, to monitor and prevail on politicians not to undermine the process. Adeboji Ojoba was at the Forum of Media Executives in Ekiti State with top officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in Ado Ekiti.
The forum was organized by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to intimate media executives about the Commission's effort in ensuring successful polls come June 18, as accurate report of the election plays a significant role in the success story of the election. INEC Commissioner Voter Education Festus Okoye assures that 10,000 adult staff have been incorporated for the exercise.
And we're going to use this particular election to test some of our technological innovations and to make sure that we get everything right.
There was presentation on technical innovations by INEC with special emphasis on beavers and its usage. The interactive section clarified issues, concerns and anxieties about the beavers, lapses that may occur in the voting process, and the need for media executives to acquaint themselves with the electoral law,
the various do's and don'ts, and those red flags that journalists and media men should watch out for.
With this training, INEC is going to achieve a mileage.
With this technological advancement, hopes are high that the June 18th governorship election in Ekiti State will be a huge success. From Ado Ekiti, Adobeji Ojegba, NTA News.
Over 1,000 delegates are expected to participate in the National Convention of the New Nigeria People's Party (NNPP) this Wednesday. At a press conference in Abuja, National Publicity Secretary of the party, Abo Major, urged Nigerians to join the party in its quest to provide purposeful leadership for the nation.
The National Executive Committee of the party is deeply involved. Local governments, zonal officers, and all of them, we are expecting all of them in Abuja. But then we are guided by what the law says. So when it comes to casting of votes, we will look, specifically at the provisions of the law.
On the killing of innocent worshippers at the St. Francis Catholic Church Owo, Ondo State, the party urged the security agencies to fish out those involved and their sponsors. The party called on Nigerians to get their PVC and ensure they participate in the 2023 general elections. Meanwhile, ahead of the APC Special National Convention for the party's presidential primary, the FCT Police Command has ordered the diversion of traffic along the roads leading to the Eagle Square venue of the convention. A statement by the PPRO of the command, Josephine Ade, urges motorists to take alternative routes as the deployment by the command is characterized by heavy visibility policing, as will be witnessed at various checkpoints within the city center of Abuja. The police assures delegates and other dignitaries to the convention of their safety as watertight security is provided. We pause now for some messages. Welcome back. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has assured the government and people of Ondo State, especially the entire Owo community, that the federal government will in no distant time fish out the perpetrators of Sunday's attack on St. Francis Catholic Church Olua Owo and make them pay for their evil act. The Vice President, who gave the assurance when he led federal government delegation to the palace of the Olowo of Owo, noted that the gunman attack is an attack on the entire nation, as Owo has always been known for peace. Toyin Batire has details.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who described the attack as unfortunate, noted that government will ensure that peace returns to the town.
And we must find the perpetrators, and they must be punished. And we must set an example of this with what has taken place here.
Other sympathizers who visited Owo to commiserate with the people include APC presidential aspirant Bola Tinubu, Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi, and Senator Ibikunle Amosun. The monarch appreciated them and appealed for urgent government intervention.
I believe that government, both federal and state, need to investigate that data.
Meanwhile, the mood in Owo is peaceful and calm but sober, as some markets and shops in the area were closed, while the scene of attack was manned by armed security agents. At the Federal Medical Center Owo, the injured are responding to treatment. From Owo, Toyin Batire, NTA News.
No matter the challenge bedeviling the country today, the peace and unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable, and the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) is central in achieving this. A former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, said this when he received the 19th NYSC Director General, Brigadier General Mohammed Fada, in his office in Abuja. Olayinka Ojo reports that General Gowon, while noting the importance and versatility of the NYSC, urged the Director General of the scheme to fulfill all the requirements of the Youth Corps.
From wherever you come, your contribution is for making this country greater and better. NYSC is good. It's for the good of the country.
Director General NYSC Brigadier General Mohammed Fada assured that he will continue to work in line with the ideals of the founding fathers of the NYSC, as well as prioritize the welfare and security of core members. Now, the United Nations is collaborating with the Martin Luther Agwai International Leadership and Peacekeeping Center to develop the capacity of military observers from selected African countries. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa was at the Nigerian Army Resource Center, Abuja, venue of the event.
Armed conflicts have ravaged some African countries in the last decades. These crises have negatively impacted on socioeconomic activities in parts of Africa, mostly attributed to political instability, corruption, power tussle and scramble for scarce resources. To stem the rising tides of these crises, the United Nations and other regional security organizations for years have been intervening to resolve disputes, which sometimes result in signing peace pacts among warring parties.
To make it effective, the peace agreement needs to be nurtured, monitored, and supervised to ensure compliance by all parties to the conflict. Because it's aimed at introducing selected trainers of member states within Africa to newly developed training material for United Nations military observers.
This training is therefore aimed at upscaling the capacity of UN military observers in view of the dynamism and complex nature of emerging conflicts.
The granting of hosting opportunity to Nigeria portrays that the United Nations still recognizes and values the contributions of Nigeria to global peace and security.
The intention of the course is to increase the capacity of member states from Africa in delivering the new specialized training material of military observers.
21 officers from 8 African countries are participating in the 2-week Train the Trainers program holding in Abuja, Nigeria. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
The third edition of AS1 Forum for Sustainable Peace and Development is set to take place under the theme Africa in an Era of Cascading Risks and Climate Change Vulnerability, Pathways for a Peaceful, Resilient and Sustainable Continent on June 21 and 22, 2022 in a hybrid format in Cairo. This edition of the forum will address a number of Africa's priorities, including enhancing cooperation to combat terrorism, overcoming the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, achieving food security, among others. This year's edition of the forum has special significance as it will be building up to the 27th session of the Conference of the Parties, COP27, to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change to be hosted by Egypt in November 2022. Let's now join Hingino in Lagos for more on Network News.
Thank you, Kenny. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has created a seamless process of registration for permanent voter cards for youths who have not been captured or persons whose cards are lost, damaged, as well as those seeking a transfer in order not to be disenfranchised from the 2023 general elections. Lagos State Resident Electoral Commissioner Segun Agbaje said the process is a means for the Commission to capture more eligible voters into the system. Abolade Salami reports.
Elections in Nigeria are mostly characterized by voter apathy, violence, and rigging of results. In some instances, while a larger percentage of the country's demography is constituted by the youths who form bulk of the population, statistics from the Independent National Electoral Commission reveals that 51% of registered voters are youths, with less than 30% that participated in the 2019 elections. In bridging the gap, the electoral umpire through a concert show in Lagos is attracting the attention of youths on the need to register for their PVC.
We just want them to know that the artists they like, that they prefer, are going to be brought here. And then, but we don't want that one to be their only motivation. The motivation is that they love Nigeria, they love issue of politics and governance, and that they want to also participate and ensure that we have good election next year. Because it's also not just even about registering, to also prepare them ahead because you know from September when campaigns will start, you don't want them to be used to cause problems or violence, either during campaigns or during the election proper.
To encourage more participation of the youth in electioneering process in the country, critical stakeholders are partnering with the umpire through advocacy and campaigns on the relevance of owning a permanent voter card in order to perform their civic responsibility.
But it's not enough for young people to be angry and vent, and this outrage on social media is very good. But it will not make any difference if you don't register, if you don't collect your PVC, and if you don't vote at the next election. So the next election is about young people, and young people must make their numbers count by coming out to vote.
The most important thing for me to come out here to do an adjustment on my card because of the 2023 election. I wanted to vote and I want my vote to count.
With the Youth Vote Count initiative, election observers are optimistic that registered voters' number will increase. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
NASCON Allied Industries PLC, a member of Dangote Group of Companies, has posted an impressive financial performance in the year ended 31st December 2021 with a proposed dividend of 40 kobo per share to shareholders. This was announced at the company's annual general meeting and presentation of its annual report and accounts for the financial year. Lynn Leneke reports.
2021 was practically an economic recovery year after the hit of the COVID-19 pandemic, which weighed on global economic growth. Despite the challenges experienced in the business environment, NASCON Allied Industries PLC revenue received a boost to maintain its position as Nigeria's food processing and industrial leader. The company in 2021 financial year recorded a turnover of 33.28 billion naira, representing a 19% increase from the previous year, while its profit after tax also increased by 10% from 2.69 billion naira to 2.97 billion naira.
We have a strength in our new factory. Salt Village is an excellent facility and we see that coming through in the numbers. So yeah, it was a difficult year, it was a challenging year, but I think when you have a clear strategy, you have a strong management team, and also you have a good product that you have to sell, then you are still able to compete.
The board and management of NASCON says it is determined to grow the business by sustaining its earnings and profit to deliver competitive returns to its valued stakeholders.
The core for our brand, being Dangote Salt, used to be the front runner and the setting of the pace in the salt category. So that's what a salt village should do in terms of producing those good quality. But most importantly is that we need to make sure that Dangote Salt becomes the first and best preferred salt in the kitchen.
As we expand and we increase volume coming out of that refinery, then you should be able to see a lot more growth coming from the south.
NASCON Allied Industries PLC, a member of the Dangote Group of Companies, is a world-class consumer goods company recognized for quality of products and services and committed to delivering high returns to stakeholders. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
That's it from here. Time now for a break. But before then, do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for update.
Thank you for staying with us on NTA Network News. Now Musa Abubakar will bring us business news.
Well, thank you, Kenneth. In 2021, the Federal Executive Council (FEC) approved the revised national policy on micro, small and medium enterprises, which provides the framework to resolve the challenges faced by the subsector. To ensure the success of the policy, Minister of State Industry, Trade and Investment, Mariam Katagun, has formally inaugurated focal persons from the various ministries, departments and agencies whose task is to ensure that Nigeria's MSME subsector is not just active but globally competitive and to increase MSME's contribution to exports and GDP.
The involvement of strategic MDAs and BMOs in developing sector-specific action plans and nomination of focal persons will certainly increase the pace of activities that will drive the development of the nano, micro, small and medium enterprises by the policies focused on finance, skills development, marketing, technology, research and development.
What we want to achieve through the work development group are the main objectives of the policies, which include one, to foster the emergence of new elements in Nigeria, especially among women and youth. To accelerate the profitable expansion of existing and MSMEs needs along the value chain and move transition to higher levels.
Following the 29 OPEC and non-OPEC ministerial meeting, which highlighted the importance of stable and balanced markets for both crude oil and refined products, Reuters reports that oil prices topped $120 a barrel in choppy trade on Monday, buoyed by Saudi Arabia raising its July crude prices, but amid doubts that a higher output target for OPEC Plus oil producers will ease tight supply. Brent crude touched an intraday high of $121.95 per barrel before trading flat at $119.61. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose to their highest level in 3 months, briefly trading at $120.99 per barrel. Now to the capital market. It is a positive start on the Nigerian stock market this Monday as the NGX all-share index appreciated by 0.34% to 53,086.86 basis points. 755.6 million shares were traded by investors in 4,297 deals valued at 8.9 billion naira, with market capitalization rising to 28.6 trillion naira. That's business news. The news continues with Kenny.
Thank you very much, Musa. Now, the federal government has inaugurated an inter-ministerial steering committee and technical working group on local vaccines production in line with the nation's vaccine MVP policy. Oluseyi Adebo reports that a messenger RNA mRNA technology has been adopted for the production.
When the global community was struggling to produce vaccines at the peak of the outbreak of COVID-19, the federal government came up with Nigerian vaccine policy that extensively engaged all stakeholders on vaccine production in the country.
So we inaugurate these groups for the benefit of the people of Nigeria.
The recommendation of the National Vaccine Policy has led to the inauguration of the Inter-Ministerial Steering Committee and the Technical Working Group on local vaccines manufacturing and to ensure self-sufficiency in vaccines availability, which will further boost the already existing national immunization policy.
We are ready to start the process of producing various kinds of human vaccine, of course starting with the COVID-19. So it requires collaboration.
We need to have the capacity to be able to join in research and production of any vaccines to protect our people and our continent, Africa.
The terms of reference for the Inter-Ministerial Steering Committee will be to approve recommendations on vaccine production from the Technical Working Group, provide financial and technical support for the group. In Abuja, Oluseyi Adebo, NTA News.
Next is Jos, and Felicia is our guide.
Thank you, Kene. Glad to have you join us in Jos. Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya says he will sustain collaboration with the media in view of the vital role it plays in peace and conflict resolution. This was during a training for officers of the Directorate of Army Public Relations and the media in Jos. Ijoma Ozamena has details.
The training updates and widens the horizon of officers of the Directorate of Army Public Relations. Surmounting security challenges facing the country requires patriotism, public support, and seamless synergy among security agencies.
With all
not provide us with opportunities to solve problems of common interest, but use preferred solutions that would be beneficial to the directorate and indeed the national government.
In countering terrorism, there is need for proper and effective media handling of its reportage to achieve the desired objectives of a united, secured and peaceful Nigeria. Chief of Army Staff, represented by the Commander Operation Safe Haven, says the media has effective role to play in peace and conflict situations by building bridges of friendship as well as containing major crises from escalating to a bigger proportion.
We continue to support closer collaboration, engagement, and regular interfaces with the media and the area of our organizations through effective training and retraining.
The training featured presentation of a paper titled Enhancing Security Through Effective Crisis Communication in a Joint Environment, followed by an interactive session. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemena, NTA News.
Governor Simon Lalong has restated commitments to ensuring that the various projects being executed by the state government are carried out in line with contractual agreements. This was while inspecting work on the British-American Junction Interswitch flyover in Jos. Zenret Dingmun reports.
Over time, traffic congestion has remained a challenge to motorists plying the major highways. This development prompted the state government to embark on the British-American Junction Interswitch flyover. Governor Simon Lalong was on project site to assess the level of work and to find solution to whatever challenge affecting its progress.
This project covers, I think, is a route for over 60, almost 60. So all of them are also having anxiety to see the realization of this project. And for us, we keep on growing and telling our people that we are capable of delivering within this project. While we were going to commence this construction, some public utilities were disrupted. That is lights and water. We are happy to now say that at least one line of the water has been concluded.
The governor also monitored the level of work at the High Court complex.
We are looking up to the time that the High Court complex will be completed, and if you have to do that, we will also continue to keep the contractor at alert so that he will do his work.
He urged contractors to execute projects in line with contractual agreement. In Jos, Zenred Dingmun, NTA News.
And Jos is done. The news continues shortly in Abuja with Kene after